Sarah is a normal 20-year-old. She studies hard, has friends and lives by herself. There is one difference, however. Sarah was born with large foam hands. Sarah suffers from a disease called spumatositis, or more commonly known as fomitis. This is a genetic disease which affects less than 1% of the world's population. Sarah lives in Durham and has recently moved into her own house where she wishes to develop her independence.
This is the new house. It's a bit of a struggle because I'm having to do things for myself for the first time ever. Just tidying the place is a struggle, but you know, I'm settling in, and it's nice to have my own place now, where I don't have to worry about how my mum's doing. Obviously, it's a bit of a struggle because I've never lived by myself before, and I've spent my whole life, 20 years, depending on someone else. With fomitis, you've got to be very, very careful with your diet, and it's not like a normal nut allergy. I'm fine. My throat doesn't swell up or anything. I don't go into anaphylactic shock. It's just that my hands begin to swell up. It's the same with bananas. I think there's something in the potassium in bananas that make my hands swell up, and it's like an unbearable pain. I've spent my whole life kind of having to depend on my mum. I can, but I struggle with simple things. Opening doors, opening jars, opening anything really, picking things up. I can't even brush my own hair. I can't put my makeup on. I can't brush my teeth. Sometimes I struggle going to the toilet by myself. I've got a system now, so it's fine. But it used to be really hard. My mum's helped me with a lot of things. She's pretty much given up her whole life for me, for helping out and looking after me, which is part of the reason why I wanted to move out.
It's very difficult for her, obviously. Things like walking the dogs. If I'm not here, she can't do it. I have to be here constantly. She needs help to go to the toilet. She needs help to make a cup of coffee. She needs help to drink a cup of coffee. She can't go to a restaurant. Somebody has to cut her food up for her. It's very embarrassing for her. She can't use the cash point. She copes. She does cope. But I'm so worried that she's going to fail when she leaves.
It's hard just turning the television on. I've been sat here for 3 days with no television on because I can't. Once it is on, it's going to be stuck on the same channel as well because I can't use the TV remote as of now. I've sent off for one with giant buttons, but it hasn't arrived yet.
Scientists don't have the funds available to research her illness. Sarah could be this way for the rest of her life.
Do you want a hand?
You could pass the milk.
Alright, 1 second.
I thought I forgot what milk you got there. You having problems?
No, it's fine. See? It's fine. Hello.
It's always fine, isn't it?
What?
What
is it?
It's always fine, isn't it?
Well, yes, it is always fine.
Yeah, there's no need to be so damned independent all of the time.
So I want to live my whole life depending on someone else.
No, face it, Sarah. Just face it.
I don't want a cup of coffee, it's fine.
Oh, here we go again.
Oh, you haven't had all of your, independence stripped away from you.
Look,
you were
I have
born
seen
with
members
these.
of my family go through this, Sarah. I have seen it time and time again. God's sake, girl, you need help. You can't do anything by yourself, Sarah. I think I'll be there a lot. I think she's going to need ongoing help for the rest of her life.
I got a special phone that's specially made for my foam hands. It's a touchscreen phone and it works a lot better than just a normal phone. I used to have a BlackBerry, but I couldn't use all of the buttons because they were far too small. Making food myself can be quite hard, so I often just get takeaways. Oh, where's my phone? Oh, there it is. I mean, like I was saying before, it's quite hard to pick up my phone. It's not working at all. God's sake.
As there is so little awareness of the disease, Sarah was an easy target for bullies, especially during her school years.
She was bullied constantly, incessantly. You know how children can be, they're so cruel.
The amount of pain that she suffered through people physically, mentally abusing her, you know, it's not really nice at all. I mean, if I had blue hands, big blue hands, I would just freak out. I couldn't take the pressure that Sarah gets, really.
It was terrible. She would come home in tears every day.
There are a few situations where I've seen Sarah being bullied. One that stands out in mind was a few months ago. It was in art, we were in art together, and she was getting on with her work, and a few lads basically grabbed her and covered her hands in super glue, like loads of super glue, and like pressed her against the wall, and her hands were stuck on the wall, and she remained on that wall for like 5 or 6 hours. The teacher couldn't pretty much get her off the wall, no one could, so they called the fire brigade. Sarah was really upset about it. She couldn't even sit down really for about 7 or 8 hours.
She felt so helpless and none of us could do anything.
Sarah retreated into herself for so many years as a child. Wouldn't come out of our room. Wouldn't, even when family were here, she used to lock herself away from being a very small child.
My girls would grab me and pull me into the toilets and stuff my hands into the toilets and flush. Then I'd be stuck there. My hands would swell up and I wouldn't be able to get them out of the toilets. And I don't know, it was just hard.
Sarah's a very kind and loving person. She cares quite a lot.
She's such good company, and she tries to be so upbeat all the time. She very rarely gets down about this.
I guess I live quite a stressful life because I'm always having to depend on other people and I don't really have much that I can do to relieve stress, but one thing that I do rely on is the gym. I go there pretty much every single day if I've got time, and I find it really therapeutic and I like to keep in shape. It helps with my confidence. I mean, just going on the treadmill is quite hard because the buttons on them, when I do manage to press them myself, I often end up pressing it too high and having quite a mishap.
From the moment she gets out of bed, it's brushing her teeth for her, doing her hair for her, bathing her, putting the soap on the sponge, the foam hands, so she can use them to wash. It's very difficult. I've got no time. I have no boyfriend. I have no, excuse me, I have no life.
Sarah believes that the next step in gaining her independence is to go to university. Her family do fear for her, of course, as it will be the first time she will be living amongst people who do not understand her disease.
She's going to be studying biomedicine. There is no cure for fomitis, and she wants to do research eventually, ultimately. I think her goal is to do research into this disease specifically.
Before starting university, Sarah's doctor informed her of an experimental surgery based in Argentina, a hand transplant. 6 months later, we have come back to visit Sarah. Sarah has had a transplant on her left hand. This has had a major impact on her life.
So I've got a real hand. Like, this is amazing. I can't believe it. I can't believe that this has happened to me, that something good has actually happened to me. I just thought that I was going to be living with these foam hands for the rest of my life. I thought that that was me. I was going to be a freak forever, and that I was never going to be accepted by anyone, but I have a real hand. I can pick things up. I can open doors. It's gonna be so worth it. You don't understand what it's like not being able to grip something because you don't have a proper thumb. I've got a real thumb now. This is the best thing that's ever happened to me.
Oh, you're quite blown up.